Backlash 2025 is in the books. I'm reviewing it immediately after the show, and this will go up live Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Time. I'm going to give you my immediate response and thoughts on the PLE. There were some highs and there were some lows, so let's get into it on Screw the Script. Wow. What an interesting Backlash. One thing to make note, this was under 3 hours. I know this has happened a few times now with WWE and their PLEs. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it only because Raw is sometimes right around the same length that this PLE was. In my mind, you think, okay, if this is a premium live event, it should be at least longer than your episodes of Raw, and especially SmackDown right now. But it wasn't, so a little strange that it wasn't even 3 hours long. Also, kind of odd that they only had 5 matches, and one of them, we'll get to in a little bit, one of them should have been, honestly, a squash, and it wasn't. But let's, start from the beginning on this Backlash review and just my thoughts on it all. I'm going to implement a new thing that I'm starting that I'm going to do for every WWE PLE and every AEW pay-per-view. I have a rating system, and it'll just organically pop up after I review the first match. So let's start with that. So here is the Backlash card. I'll have it up there on the screen for you to follow. And we'll just start with the first match. It was a very, very fast-paced, high-intensity, electric Fatal 4-Way to open up the show. One of the better openers in WWE PLEs in some recent time. This was miles ahead better than the opener to WrestleMania. Energetic, like I said, fun spots. For me, the big highlight, though, was Jeff Cobb finally making his WWE debut. We have read rumors that he was going to join WWE these last few weeks. He was in talks, I believe, with AEW at one point. He has made appearances in AEW over the years, just kind of like one-off stuff. But hey, now we see Jeff Cobb is in WWE, and it looks like he aligned with the Bloodline. This was a fun match. The only kind of small knock that I had for it, and this is actually a common theme that we saw at Backlash, which we'll get into later on, but there was interference at the end. We saw Jacob Fatu retain the title. But I'll give it a pass because it was Jeff Cobb debuting. I wasn't expecting it there in that moment, so surprise factor, how energetic the match was. This was actually a match of the night for me. And hold your reserves. I'll explain later why I'm feeling that way, but this match was near perfect. I love Fatal 4-Ways and triple threats and matches like that, and this was done near flawlessly by WWE. All 4 competitors did great. LA Knight, Fatu, Priest, and McIntyre. McIntyre and Priest got into it, went through some tables at one point. LA Knight had a few near falls, thought he was going to take back that title. It was fun. So that first match gets a 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. Now let's get on to the next match. Next we saw Lyra and Becky Lynch have a solid match. I didn't like it as much as the opener, but it was still nonetheless a good match. There was tons of reversals. It was a very technical match, which this is my favorite part about the match was how technical it was, because it was very complimentary to the opening match, which wasn't nearly as technical as, like I said, electric all over the place, just tons of things going on in a fatal 4-way match, which is, kind of what happens in those matches. This one was more, technical, mat-based match. A good balance, like I said, after the opening match. Lyra does retain with a roll-up pin, which I'm not the biggest fan of roll-up pins. So but it is what it is. Becky Lynch attacks her post-match, and I really don't think that the fans, the crowd, really wants to get behind Becky Lynch as a heel. I've said it before on this channel. I'll say it again. I think having her turn heel literally the week after she returns was a mistake, and I'm standing by it because I don't feel it. I don't feel that it's right. I can tell that the crowd doesn't want to have to boo her, but they're almost being spoon-fed heel Becky Lynch. And for those reasons, it was still a solid match, but I'm going to drop this down a little bit. Overall, I still loved it. This match gets 4 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. Something that I made note before we get into the next match, I still cannot stand the logos on the ring mat. And I don't know if it was for you guys, let me know down below if they bother you as much as they bother me, but the logo on the ring mat tonight was a giant ass yellow, and I think it was black outline too. Morgan and Morgan ad that was on just plastered fat in the center of the ring. It was an eyesore. It was very distracting for me all night long. Towards the end, I was able to, sort of zone it out. But the problem that I have with this, and especially that we've seen in WWE, is how frequently it seems like they're changing their ads that they have on the ring mat. Because as soon as I get used to the ads that are on the ring mat and my eyes don't wander and get so distracted by them, they go and change it. And that's what they did for tonight. Did not like that. I just wanted to make that a quick note. Next match, we had Penta and Dominic Mysterio. On paper, I thought this was going to be my favorite match, besides the main event. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And unfortunately, the main event wasn't, which we'll get to in a little bit. Going on to the match, though, honestly, the highlight of the match was Dominic Mysterio doing that suicide dive where he turned it into a DDT. That was a flawless spot. Where I'm going to knock this match, and I've said it once, I've said it probably 5 times now, I'll say it again. Penta is still so watered down. I was really hoping, I wanted this to be my favorite match of the night because I was really hoping that Penta would finally break out and just have a badass match showcasing his true potential, his true skills, and we still didn't see it. The highlight that he did, besides his same 3 moves that he does, was his crossbody that he did from the top turnbuckle to the outside on Dominic Mysterio. That's it. What else did you see him hit? Besides his, he didn't even get the Penta driver, but he did his Mexican Destroyer on the hardest part of the ring outside of the ropes on the apron. And like a couple other things, maybe a sling blade here or there. That's it. That's all he did. And Dominic Mysterio, much like this past Raw, JD, seemed more impressive than Penta in my mind. I think Dominic Mysterio stole this match. He carried it in a way. I think he was the star of this match. And just for me, this proves in my mind, you could disagree, but in my mind, this just further backs the fact that I think Penta is very watered down in WWE. So we see, Dominic Mysterio win. I didn't like that just like the first match, like I said, this was a reoccurring theme. We saw a dirty finish, stuff getting involved. We saw, and this kind of made me chuckle. We saw, we saw El Grande Americano come out, and the ref was down. The ref was distracted or something. I know he's got this like gimmick thing going on where he has a loaded mask, which I think is whatever. I've expressed that already. Why did he need to use it? The ref was already distracted and or down. I can't remember exactly, but just use a regular weapon, hit him with a chair, something. I thought it was just funny, nothing. I'm not like knocking the match down a point or anything for that specifically. I just thought it was a little bizarre that he just didn't use a chair or some actual weapon. And, it's like he tried to get away with it, even though he was already getting away with it. So, like, what was the point? Just hit him with the chair or something. But still, I didn't like that it was a dirty finish. Dominic Mysterio deserves better than that. I think if he was going to win, he should have just won cleanly against Penta. That would have been huge for his career. So I'm giving this match a 3 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. And now, this is where Backlash took a nosedive for me. Like I've said, I think I said at the beginning, there were some highs and there were some lows. This was the first big low. Pat McAfee and Gunther should have been over in 60 seconds or less. 2025, the way that they are booking Gunther is unbelievably stupid. First off, you have him lose the title at Mania in a terrible opening match. In my mind, it was bad. Taps out to Jey Uso in under 10 seconds. And then tonight, I know he was playing the crowd and toying with Pat McAfee, but that match should have been done in 60 seconds or less. Or at the very least, if you want to give it the benefit of the doubt, the first time McAfee got any sort of like reversal on the Gunther, he should have stood up and be like, all right, enough with the games. I'll just whip his ass and then win. No, this match went on for 12 fucking minutes. That's 11 minutes too long. Yeah, Gunther still won. Thank God he still won. But even at the end, it took, 30 seconds or something for Pat McAfee to finally, I think he didn't tap out. I think he just went unconscious to Gunther's submission. Talk about a way to make one of your most dominant Intercontinental champs ever in WWE. Definitely the most dominant in recent years. Way to make him look like just a joke, basically, at this point. They made him not even look threatening anymore. He lost his title to Jey Uso, who can't even hit a super kick right. And now he has a match go longer than 10 minutes against a retired NFL punter who was like, Gunther had at least 50 pounds on him. This was the worst match of the night. I was not looking forward to this match. I've expressed that on a previous video that I thought this was a lose-lose. This doesn't go anywhere. The only reason why this doesn't get a 1 out of 6 cans of whoop ass is at least Gunther won. But I'm giving this match a 2 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. What a way to just make him look non-threatening and a way to destroy his character and reputation in WWE that he so very well climbed up in prestige and that IC title run and everything just to get it almost. I don't want to go and say that his career is tarnished. It's not. That's a little bit of an overstatement, but good God, do something else better with Gunther in 2025, please. Orton and CENA opened up with such a big time feel, such big time energy, and I was like, damn, we're about to get an all-timer, aren't we? You had the build-up all night long with Michael Cole stating facts between the two of them. You had the promo package that we saw before Backlash. Like, ugh. This match should have been so much more than what we got. You may have loved it. I thought it was underwhelming. I didn't hate it. I thought it was underwhelming. The highlight of this match was Orton reversing Cena's FU. And I'm going to call it the FU. I'm never going to call it the attitude adjustment. Fuck that PG bullshit. This was an FU. You know, these two are all-timers in WWE. They've been around well before the PG era started in 2008. But yeah, highlight of the night for me was Orton reversing Cena's FU into an RKO. I almost didn't caught it at first, and I was like, wait a minute, that was definitely an RKO. And then they went back to the replay and showed it, and in slow motion, that was beautiful. Unfortunately, the match kind of just trickled. It started off on fire, and then it kind of sizzled out at the end. Another good RKO was when he reversed Cena's classic shoulder tackles into an RKO. That was good. I did like that. Cena tried to cheat when the ref was down. Another RKO and a kick out. Chants from fans saying bullshit. Now, this is where it really started to go downhill. Because, okay, quick side note. AEW gets a lot of shit for what people will say, like, oh, their matches are spot fests. And there's no actual, like, legitimate wrestling. All they do is hit each other with, you know, finishers. And it's a spot fest, spot fest, spot fest. This match was... If that stuff in AEW is spot fest matches, this match was literally the Golden Crown spot fest match of 2025 and probably the last 5 years or so. I think by the end of it, I counted like 12 RKOs. And I don't even think that includes the RKOs that Orton gave like the officials and stuff when he kind of snapped towards the end of the match. And then we had like 8 FUs. Those two hit each other with more of their finishers than actual moves in the match. That was not awesome. It was just 12 RKOs 8 FUs, and then maybe a few other moves. I don't even think we saw Orton's like patented DDT that he does from the second rope. I don't even remember if we saw that. I don't think we did. We didn't see anything except a bunch of RKOs and FUs, and that was it for like 35 minutes. And then you had like 18 near falls. You had the ref get knocked down like 5 times. The terrible announce table spot where Orton hit Cena with an awful looking FU because it just didn't look good. And it wasn't good because the table didn't break until 10 seconds after Cena fell on the floor. And then I think they kind of like improvised and took out an actual table out of the ring and just redid that table spot because the first one was so shitty. I mean, there were some fun spots. Okay, I'm not going to completely shit on the match. Oh, and then I forgot about this. Jesus Christ. Another ref knockout. Then he gets an RKO. And the ref can't count, so Orton hits RKOs to everyone, all those officials that came out. R-Truth comes out? Seriously? I get it. I get the callback and how he loves John Cena. But come on. If this is going to be marketed as the last Orton-Cena match, that's how you're going to end it? Just a spam fest of finishers and fucking R-Truth? If this is the last time these two wrestle each other, especially for a title, that was a huge drop of the ball. Huge drop of the ball. Literally the ultimate spam finisher match that I've seen in WWE in some time. 12 RKOs. Which has got to be bad for his back. I mean, his back is pretty much shot at his age. And then like 8 FUs. I don't think there was any other moves in the night besides like Cena's shoulder tackle. I think he hit a 5-knuckle shuffle at one point. Orton maybe did his like quick scoop slam. Just off the top of my head, that's all I can remember. Maybe there's a few other things trickled in there, but definitely not enough to outnumber the amount of finishers that we saw. Disappointing, marketed anyway, final match between these two. I didn't hate it though. I'm not going to give it a 1 or a 2. I'm sitting somewhere between a 3, maybe a 4 out of 6. I will give them the benefit of the doubt just because I love Randy Orton, and the fact that this was such a fun build-up, and it had that, high energy feel at the start of the match, and 2 all-timer Hall of Famers, soon-to-be Hall of Famers, I'll give it a 4 out of 6 cans of whoop ass, but I think that's being generous, especially after how much I ranted. So that's my review on Backlash overall. Strong start, like I said. But a very overwhelming and unfortunate end. Overall, I'm going to give the show a 4 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. Very well could have been a 5 out of 6 if that main event wasn't such a spot fest and just... I just did not like it. That's all I had for you on this episode of Screw the Script. You let me know down below your thoughts on Backlash, your thoughts on the main event. Was I too harsh? I don't think I was. I really think that based off of the last videos that I've expressed with how WWE produces their big matches lately and how they do it now compared to how they used to do it, this just backs it. Really, it does. I just think this was a spam fest main event with nothing but finishers and signature moves, just like WrestleMania's main event. You got to do better than this, WWE. You have to. This has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.